So this past Saturday, while my fiancé was away at his second job, I curiously looked at his Apple Watch because recently I caught him deleting messages with an ex who kept bugging him. But all those messages were completely benign, and the ex knows he's engaged, so I mostly swept it under the rug. But I decided to check his watch because I know Apple usually does a poor job of syncing deleted messages, just to make sure he wasn't still deleting messages with her. Well, my heart stopped because I caught him full-bore flirting with a different girl, one he used to work with who is a beautiful fit blonde. He suggested a date for the two of them at this winery. Didn't explicitly call it a date, but was still obviously implied, telling her he thought she was going to be famous one day when she sent him some of her poetry. And he offered to bring her soup because she was sick not once but twice when she declined the first time. He insisted. She revealed she was very sick, and he offered to drive her to the hospital. Now, this is a girl he hasn't talked to this whole relationship, well, to my knowledge, at the time of this happening, so all of this seemed crazy out of the blue. So I texted him. I was cutting off the engagement, and he called me confused and scared. I told him what I found, and we agreed to meet at a coffee shop because he said he would explain everything. I agreed. It was there that he told me he was only talking to her because his single friend showed him that he had found me on Bumble a month ago. Except I deleted my account long ago, either shortly before or shortly after we started dating. And I swear I do not have one. I have no reason to lie on here. I asked him for screenshots of it, and I downloaded Bumble right then and there and punched in my phone number because I was so confused. But there was no account tied to my number. I started to wonder if that was even a true story. But when I texted his friend off his phone, his friend wasn't confused about me asking for Bumble screenshots, so I thought that was evidence that was the real story. However, he no longer had the screenshots, which was devastating to me because I really wanted proof on that part of the story. But anyway, my fiancé claims that he was talking to this girl to set her up on the back burner because he was going to try to catfish the Bumble account. And if it turned out it was me, he was going to leave me for her. I was flabbergasted because this was a man who claimed he loved me like no one he had ever loved before. And he hadn't even seemed off at all in the past month. That he claimed to know of this Bumble account during, which I feel like if I thought he had a Bumble account, I would have confronted him right away. I asked, and what if you never found it? He said he would just keep making excuses for why he couldn't see that girl and then let it go. He said he's only been talking to this girl the past couple of days, so I checked his T-Mobile records and everything checked out. And he's squeaky clean everywhere else, Snapchat, Facebook Messenger, the like. But I can't help but wonder how far he actually would have pushed things with this girl if she wasn't really sick, or if I had given it more time to play out instead of flying off the handle right away. I hope he's telling me the honest truth about the situation. Edit. One thing I want to clarify is that some people aren't quite getting right in their responses, is his friend never gave him the screenshots. He showed him in person, supposedly, and his friend does a lot of audit work, and the photos need to take up a lot of space on his phone, which is why he claims to have deleted the Bumble screenshots. Edit 2. Also, just wanted to note he's been cheated on horrifically in the past. He forgave the other girl, and he said basically he was determined this time to not be a doormat. Edit 3. Should also mention the only solution so far is I've been wearing his watch to work, so I see every message in and everyone going out. But I feel crazy. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. So, even if we believe his story, which I don't, he is saying that his solution to thinking you might be talking to other people is not to talk to you about it and give you a chance to explain, but to just cheat on you back? Yeah, I wouldn't marry him either. You can now fully expect if there is any misunderstanding or anything that looks weird, he'll just cheat on you. He is flat out telling you that. He thinks that is a reasonable thing to do. But anyways, I also don't believe him. His friend wouldn't be the first friend to cover for someone. If they have never discussed a Bumble account, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out it might be you texting him. A ton of people would just play along. P.S. How is he going to catfish the account if he doesn't know the account name? And why wouldn't he do that first before starting to flirt with others? Comment 2. He planned on cheating on you and blamed you for a lie about you. The honest truth, if he has actually told you it, is still terrible. If he's telling the truth, he's still terrible. He claims to think you're lying, cheating trash, and instead of breaking up with you, he used that as an excuse to be lying, cheating trash himself. Basically, using this other woman to big himself up while he waited to catch you. That is disgusting. And he's obviously lying about Bumble. He just invented something he could accuse you of to avoid what he had actually done, which was tee up a woman to cheat with you on. You're being a fool. This man cheated. This man planned on cheating. This man only stopped when he did because he got caught. He's gonna cheat on you again. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the support on my last post. It's been a tense few days, and I've got some major updates for you all. So, after the coffee shop confrontation, things were tense. I was wearing his Apple Watch to work, seeing every message, feeling like a detective in my own relationship. It was exhausting, but I needed to know if he was being honest. On Sunday, my fiancé's friend, the one who supposedly saw my Bumble profile, came over to help us move past this. He's the serious type, always busy with audit work, which is why he claimed he deleted the screenshots. But I needed answers. We sat down, and he explained how he stumbled upon the profile while swiping through Bumble. He remembered how my fiancé had been cheated on before and didn't want him to go through that pain again. So he told him right away. My fiancé nodded along, adding that the betrayal he felt before had made him act out of fear this time. He didn't want to be the last to know again, so he jumped into action without thinking it through. He admitted that talking to the fit blonde was a mistake, a knee-jerk reaction to what he thought was my deceit. I listened, still skeptical. But then, the friend did something unexpected. He pulled out his phone and showed us his Bumble app, explaining he had kept swiping in hopes of finding the profile again to get proof for me. And there it was, a profile with my pictures, but the bio was all wrong. It was clearly a fake. My heart raced. Someone was using my identity to catfish people. We reported the profile together, and I felt a wave of relief wash over me. My fiancé hugged me, apologizing for not trusting me, for not coming to me first. The next day, Monday, was a turning point. My fiancé took the day off work, and we spent it together, trying to rebuild our trust. He explained how he had always been the one to give more in relationships, how he had been taken advantage of, and how that made him overly cautious, sometimes to a fault. I shared my insecurities too, about feeling like I was never enough, which is why finding those messages on his watch had hurt so deeply. We were both vulnerable, both scared of getting hurt, but we were talking, really talking, for the first time in what felt like forever. Then came Tuesday, the day that changed everything. My fiancé surprised me with a visit to the winery he had mentioned to the blonde. But this time it was for us. He had planned a whole day just to show me how much he truly cared. We walked through the vineyards, tasted wines, and laughed like we hadn't in months. As the sun set, he took my hand and looked me in the eyes. He told me he was done with secrets, done with fears controlling him. He wanted to start fresh, to build a future with me based on trust and honesty. He even joked about how he'd never lived down the soup incident, but he'd make it up to me with a lifetime of loyalty. And you know what? I believed him. Seeing him open up, make the effort to fix things, it showed me the man I fell in love with was still there. We decided to take things slow, to work on ourselves and our relationship before jumping back into wedding planning. Husband keeps mentioning a woman named Emma, and I found out they go on walks together and exchange messages. I confront him and find out he has feelings for her. My husband has had a new job for the past 5 months or more and keeps mentioning this woman, Emma, around 40 years old. I am currently traveling for a project at work in a foreign country and am unable to return back home until I finish, but he comes and visits me once a month. It's a 3-month project, and I am already 2 months in. My husband and I got into an argument because of her twice. One time because we traveled all the way to the city where we had our honeymoon, and he mentioned her on various occasions. The second time was because he started becoming very defensive of her when I started making fun of something he told me she does. Note that we used to make fun of that together before, all the time, before she was in the picture. The second time, he got very upset and told me he can't believe I am implying he would ever do something immoral like cheating, and that I distrust him. So I ended up apologizing as he seemed very disappointed. 2 months after our fight, me having left and temporarily moved to a foreign country to work on my project, I found out throughout Christmas and New Year's they went on regular walks together, just the two of them. He has never mentioned that to me on our calls. He also bought her a present during that time, apparently, but I don't know what that was. I found out all this because I saw a message from her appearing on the screen, so of course I was curious to understand why she is messaging him, knowing full well he is on vacation. She's definitely flirting with him. She called him a rarity of a man, and during the holidays, she said she can't bear that he will be alone for the holidays. She also said she is fond of him. He didn't reciprocate to that, but thanked her for the nice time on their walk and then invited her on more occasions to do the same. In a different conversation, she said she feels fat, and he told her she isn't. I am quite upset and am not sure if I am overreacting and should say something or wait till I get home to actually meet this Emma in person and see what she wants from my husband. She is single, by the way, divorced, and she keeps telling my husband how she needs a man. Many times she played damsel in distress, and he offered his support, for example, helping her move stuff out of her mom's house, helping her fix her car, etc. Is it me? Update, I want to thank everyone who has put in their response and offered me support and advice. It helped me stop thinking I was crazy. So, I tried to bring up the fact that I have seen the message on his screen, and he denies that there is anything happening between them. He says she's just a colleague from work and that I am pathetic for being jealous. He is disappointed in me for thinking he could do something like this, and he has no interest in her. All they do is make fun of each other. He says he speaks very highly of me with her, and that if I want, he will never ever have a female friend again. Of course, this is not what I want. I am truly lost. I feel shattered to pieces. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Yeah, this is probably just me, but I don't care how secure you are in your relationship. I think it's highly inappropriate for someone in a relationship to go out on little walk dates with a single female and not even mention it to his wife. That means he knows he is doing something wrong. I wouldn't wait to bring it up and tell him because of the lying and the fact he knows this woman is causing a strain in his marriage and still chooses to engage with her. He has two choices: cut her off and change jobs, or you will be filing for divorce when you're back, and there would be no negotiations. If he won't and says you're controlling, he allowed a friend, etc., don't argue, just end it. Comment 2. The second time he got very upset and told me he can't believe I am implying he would ever do something immoral like cheating and that I distrust him, so I ended up apologizing as he seemed very disappointed. Yes, he straight up gaslighted you here. He's changing his opinions, likes, to match up with those of a woman outside his marriage, meeting up with her in one-on-one situations, buying gifts for her, entertaining her flirting with him, hiding these details from you, and getting angry at you for noticing. Their relationship is an inappropriate one because his behavior screams that he knows it is like. Now for the update. Hey everyone, it's been a wild couple of weeks since my last post, and I've got an update that's been as chaotic as a soap opera. Buckle up, because this ride has been full of twists and turns. After confronting my husband about the messages I saw, things took a turn for the worse. He continued to deny everything, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. I remembered how he used to be so open about his day, but lately he'd been vague, especially about his interactions with Emma. It was like he was a different person, and I couldn't understand why. I decided to do some digging. I know, it's not the healthiest choice, but I was desperate for answers. I managed to get into his phone while he was in the shower. What I found was a shocker. There were dozens of messages between him and Emma, and they were definitely not just friendly banter. They talked about missing each other and counting the days. until they could see each other again. My heart sank. It was like a punch to the gut, realizing the man I trusted was keeping such a secret from me. But here's where it gets crazier. I confronted him again, this time with the evidence in hand. He couldn't deny it anymore. He admitted that he had developed feelings for Emma, but he swore nothing physical had happened. He said he was confused and didn't know how to handle these emotions. He begged for my forgiveness and promised to cut all ties with her. I was torn. Part of me wanted to scream and throw him out, but another part remembered the man I married. We'd been through so much together. Remembering the way he supported me when I lost my job, the way we'd laugh until our sides hurt over silly inside jokes, it was hard to let go of all that history. In a surprising turn of events, Emma actually reached out to me. She had no idea I knew about their messages. She wanted to clear the air and insisted that she never intended to come between us. She claimed she was seeking a friend and things got out of hand. I was skeptical, but I agreed to meet her, if only to see the woman who had become such a big part of my husband's life. The meeting was tense. Emma was apologetic, but I could see the regret in her eyes. She admitted to having feelings for my husband, but promised she would step back. It was a strange moment, feeling empathy for the other woman, but I could tell she was genuinely sorry for the pain she caused. In the midst of all this, I had to focus on my work project. It was hard to concentrate, but I poured all my energy into it, trying to find some normalcy in the chaos. My husband, meanwhile, started going to therapy. He said he wanted to figure out why he let things get so far and how to make sure it never happened again. As for me, I started talking to a counselor online. It helped to have someone to talk to, someone who didn't judge and just listened. I needed that outlet to process everything that was happening. The weeks passed, and my project finally came to an end. It was a success, despite the personal turmoil. I was proud of what I'd accomplished, but the thought of going home was bittersweet. I didn't know what I was returning to. When I got back, things were awkward. My husband was there, with flowers and apologies, but it wasn't the same. We were like strangers, tiptoeing around each other, trying to rebuild from the rubble of our relationship. We've started going to couples therapy, and it's been hard. We've had to face some ugly truths about our marriage, about how we'd grown apart even before Emma came into the picture. It's been a painful realization, but it's also opened the door to healing. It's not all bad, though. We've had moments where the old spark seemed to flicker back to life. A shared joke here, a tender look there. It's given me hope that maybe, just maybe, we can get past this. But it's not a fairy tale ending. There's still a lot of work to do, and trust is not easily rebuilt. I'm taking it one day at a time, trying to figure out if the love we had is strong enough to overcome this betrayal. BF asked me to decorate his apartment for Xmas while he was out of town, and I found an old pic of him and his ex, plus an old love letter. I apologized to him while we were both drunk, but he responded defensively and accused me of being childish. We got into a fight about various issues, and he told me to apologize and shut up even if he was wrong. I just found out he's been in contact with his ex and even met up with her behind my back. He's been accusing me of being jealous and causing drama, but he's the one holding on to the past and lying to me. I feel betrayed and hurt. While my 27-year-old, female 27, boyfriend, 28-year-old male, was out of town, he tasked me with decorating the apartment for Christmas. When I was decorating his apartment, I asked my boyfriend where the tape was. He said it might be in one of the plastic drawer things by his desk. You know, the cheap, colorful ones we see in classrooms. So I went there to look for it. He keeps a lot of things in those drawers, so one of the drawers was stuck half open, and I gave it a really hard yank and everything plopped out onto the ground, including the drawer. I found the tape and tried to quickly put everything back into the drawer and saw an old picture of his ex and him. I didn't think much of it at the time. I continued decorating, and when I was finished, I went to put the tape back and saw that I had missed a paper on the ground off to the side of the drawer. I wasn't sure if it was something from the drawer or if it was an instruction sheet I set down when I was looking for the tape. I opened it to look at it and saw it was an old love letter and immediately shoved it back into the drawer. To be honest, it didn't really bother me that he has those things. But I felt guilty for seeing something so intimate, and I felt like I violated something. Fast forward to now, we were drinking, and after about 5 shots, we were talking about how we love each other and that it's cuffing season, and he was gushing about how we can be so open with each other. I was a little drunk, and I brought up that I found the letter and the picture and apologized to him. I told him that it's okay, and he shot back, "I don't care if you think it's okay or not. I don't need to delete my past." I shot back that I didn't ask him to. I just stumbled across it when I was looking for the tape. And since we were talking about being open and honest, I felt like I needed to share that. He said that was childish. Only children think that they need to tell the truth all the time, and that I shouldn't push my guilt onto him and keep the guilt to myself. Then it turned into a fight about a million different things. He started accusing me of being jealous about his past, and that I let everything bother me, and I can't chill out, and then brought up a whole different situation altogether that had happened in the past that bothered him. I had a falling out with our mutual friend due to their history and their current dynamic with each other. When I tried to clarify, he told me that when someone is upset, I need to shut up and not argue. I asked, even if what you are accusing me of is not true, and he's like, yes, even if I'm wrong, just apologize and shut up. He called me childish. I'm so lost right now, and am wondering if I just messed everything up by arguing instead of just apologizing for everything he is accusing me of doing and feeling, because to him, that makes me selfish. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. When he is upset, you need to shut up and not argue. But when you are upset, he gets to berate you and tell you it's all your fault, that you are a child and do not know how to chill out. This guy is a jerk. Sounds like this guy has read too many stories about people trying to erase their partner's past, jumped at the chance to be a victim, and shut you down even though you were not actually doing that. Then he doubled down on, even if I am wrong, you should apologize because I am upset. These are not quality traits he is exhibiting, and I would very much evaluate what he is like in general, and if he is worth keeping at all. Comment 2. Why is he asking you to do things for his apartment when he is out of town? You are a fully adult human who is an equal in your partnership, and you can discuss anything you want. You do not need to apologize when you have not done anything wrong. He seems gross, to be honest. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, a lot has happened since my last post, and I'm still trying to process it all. Remember how I accidentally found that old love letter and photo of my boyfriend and his ex when I was decorating for Christmas? Well, things escalated from there, and I'm at a loss. After our fight about the letter, things cooled down for a bit. We went back to our usual routine, and I thought maybe we had moved past it. But then, my boyfriend's behavior started to change. He became more distant, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. I tried to talk to him about it, but he brushed it off, saying he was just stressed with work. One day, I was at his place waiting for him to get home from work. I decided to do some cleaning to surprise him. As I was dusting around his desk, I noticed that the same plastic drawer was slightly open again. Curiosity got the better of me, and I peeked inside. To my shock, there was a new letter on top, and it was addressed to his ex. I couldn't believe it. My heart was racing as I read the first few lines. It was clear that he had been in contact with her, and from the tone of the letter, it wasn't just a friendly catch-up. I felt betrayed and confused. Why would he reach out to her after all this time? And why keep it a secret from me? When he got home, I confronted him about the letter. He exploded, accusing me of snooping and invading his privacy. I tried to explain that it was an accident, but he wouldn't listen. He said that I was the one causing problems by not trusting him, and that I was looking for reasons to be upset. The argument got heated, and he brought up the falling out I had with our mutual friend again. He said that I was always causing drama, and that I couldn't let go of the past. I was stunned. It felt like he was twisting everything to make me the bad guy. I tried to defend myself, but he cut me off, saying that I was always trying to argue instead of listening. He said that if I cared about our relationship, I would apologize and drop it. but how could I just apologize when I felt so hurt and confused? The next few days were tense. We barely spoke, and when we did, it was short and cold. I started to question everything about our relationship. Was I really the one at fault here? Was I overreacting? Then, a few days ago, I got a message from our mutual friend, the one I had the falling out with. She said she needed to talk to me urgently. We met up, and she revealed something that left me speechless. She had been talking to my boyfriend's ex, who reached out to her after finding out about the letter. It turns out, my boyfriend had been reaching out to his ex for months, reminiscing about their past and complaining about our current relationship. He had even met up with her a few times behind my back. I felt like the floor had been pulled out from under me. All this time, he had been accusing me of being jealous and not being able to let go of the past, but he was the one holding on to it. And worse, he had been lying to me about it. I confronted him again, this time with the information from our mutual friend. He couldn't deny it anymore. He admitted to everything, but tried to justify his actions by saying he was just feeling nostalgic and that it didn't mean anything. I didn't know what to believe anymore. How could he do this to me? How could he make me feel guilty for something he was doing himself? I felt so betrayed and hurt. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.